I think the biggest thing, the bigger picture goals, the long-term goals, those kind of go away once we start playing games. So all the way back to November. Those get talked about a lot in September and October and getting those lined up and what we need to do to accomplish those. And for us, once we start playing games, we don't talk about them anymore. Then it shifts to, how much can we get done each day? And that is a real challenge. And I know it gets talked about and gets thrown out there, Jeremiah, but that is a real challenge to no matter what part of the season you're in. We had some good stuff happen in the non-conference that it would have been easy to get a little sidetracked. The loss at VCU was difficult because we had a chance and easy to get sidetracked. In conference play, I could go down a number of things as well, right? I mean, it happens. That's the way the season goes. And so again, talked about a lot, but hard to do. And that's one of the things I'm most proud of these guys because there hasn't been as much adversity as there's been highly positive things that have happened for this team because of how they've played. But I've been through both, and regardless of which one it is, you still have a challenge to be focused on what you're doing each day. And that to me is without question the key.
Is that something that you have to talk to the guys about specifically, or are they to the point now where you?
Yeah, I think it's much more about living it. They got a pretty good idea of who I am and what I'm going to talk about and what's important to me, and I think it's much more about that. That for myself and our staff, living it every day and focusing on the things that we have to do to get ready, and not spending our time talking about anything else. And that message, that's a pretty clear message, even back in the fall when we are talking about some of the bigger picture goals. Just about every day in the fall they hear it from me. You got to do what you can today to get better. So I think it's more about that.
Seems like the turnovers have been steadily going down every game.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that to?
I'm not sure. You'd like to say it's, and part of it I think Garrett's playing more games and gaining some more experience, but obviously Dion and Wes are senior and junior and play a lot for us. Those guys have been pretty good outside of a handful of games. I do think Seth has slowed himself down just a little bit, Garrett. I think that's probably the one. He's playing at a very high level, but I think he's just he's slowed himself down enough where he's avoiding the extra maybe 2 turnovers a game where he gets sped up a little bit. I think that's been a big key to it.
The new AP poll has you the highest ranked team in the state of Iowa now. You're 13th. Iowa State's 14th. How's that feel?
Well, I hadn't seen that. Is that your fan liaison?
That's it.
Can I say that before you do? That's your.
That's it.
Next question. Anybody else?
Will alternate jerseys be a yearly thing, do you think?
Yeah, we've talked about it. I talked with Steve Schofield and I have talked quite a bit about some of those sorts of things, and our thoughts would be to certainly do that again next year. Yeah, it's been a real positive. Obviously, you guys played well, but it's been a real positive outside of that. A lot of enthusiasm for it. A lot of people talking about it, and that's good. That's good for our program.
You're auctioning off the black ones right now, but
Yeah.
is there a chance you might wear those again before you let them go?
Boy, now you're the player liaison. They are. They wouldn't let me start talking after the game. They were clamoring about wearing those again. So we've got a good group of guys. I got no problem listening to these guys. So we'll see, Gary. Yeah, we may wear them again. Yeah. Anybody else? Have a great week.